As a driven dentist, you see the world differently. Where some see scarcity, you see abundance. When others want to give up, you keep going. You're building an amazing life of significance. That means you can't rely on ordinary advice from ordinary advisors to get to your goals. You want advice that's going to help maximize your net worth so you can take even better care of the people you love, the causes you care about, and make your dent in the universe. But the fact is, this advice remains hidden because relatively few professionals are well versed in them, and the extremely affluent don't care to let you know about them. Join us as we pull back the curtain to reveal the often hidden advice and strategies used by today's most successful individuals and families. Welcome to Dental Wealth Nation. Here's your host, Tim McNeely.
Hey, welcome everyone. I am so excited to have you here today. We've got an absolute exclusive for you. We're going to be diving into unlocking entrepreneurial wealth as a driving entrepreneurial dentist. That's right, mastering your financial destiny. And the way we're going to do this today is I am so privileged to share with you, like I said, a big exclusive. It's the first time we're actually releasing some research that we just completed with Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach, largest study ever done of entrepreneurs. And you, as a Dental Wealth Nation listener, you get access to it first. And wow, is it exciting. And let's just go ahead and dive right in and take a look at this. So, right, mastering your destiny as a dental entrepreneur. Like I said, exclusive research that's coming to you first. And what we're going to do today is we're going to dive in and we're going to take a look at what are the entrepreneurial challenges and opportunities faced by today's most successful entrepreneurs. And when I say the most successful entrepreneurs, I mean that. Our survey and this data encompasses 2,049 entrepreneurs with a collective net worth of over $32 billion. We're really going to look at the critical role that strategic wealth management plays, and we're going to provide you with some actual insights so that you can continue to build an amazing life of significance, no matter where you are, whether you're a dental entrepreneur just starting out, or you're buying your second office or your 25th office or your 200th office. You're going to be able to use these strategies, but they're really going to benefit you at the higher levels of net worth. But if you're not there yet, that's okay, because you're going to learn how to really move through these layers a lot quicker. And if you're at the top, you're going to learn some strategies and insight that will help you even do more, because we want to empower you to take control of your planning so you can get the results you want. But for me personally, this is also a very personal journey. You see, I started my life off as a very ordinary wealth advisor. I thought it was my job to simply manage an investment portfolio. And then I met and fell in love with this lovely lady here. This is my wife, Dr. Dana Yeoman. And as this ordinary wealth advisor, I found it very difficult and challenging to actually help serve my wife and her practice well. I didn't have the technical expertise that was required. I wanted to do a good job, but the truth is I didn't know what I was doing. And so I found myself in a job I hated, and I couldn't take care of the person I loved the most. I absolutely knew something needed to change. And so I reached out to some of the best people in my industry to really learn, what are the super rich doing? What are high net worth families doing to really move the needle on their most important financial goals? And I started implementing some of those lessons with my wife, Dana, and in her practice. We went out, we got one of the top tier CPAs to start helping us. We worked with asset protection specialists, marketing specialists. We brought in the team of experts that we really required to optimize our financial world. And you know what? We got back to enjoying life again, and things started to improve. It was great, but sometimes life can throw you a curveball and something that you're not ready for. And in Dana's case, it was her hands. She got to the point where she couldn't even hold forceps to do extractions anymore. Now we weren't just worried about the practice. We were worried about our personal finances too. What's going to happen if Dana can't practice dentistry anymore? And we implemented a stress test, and we're going to talk about this at the end of the presentation. This is another technique and strategy used by the ultra wealthy. And so we did a stress test of our existing wealth plans and actually discovered an error in her disability policy. You see, Dana had worked with a pretender, A pretender is a well-meaning advisor, someone who actually has your best interest at heart, but doesn't have the technical expertise and the knowledge to really implement strategies correctly. And he had made a recommendation for a disability policy, and she was paying for it incorrectly. We caught that error and breathed a massive sigh of relief, because by correcting that error, it was going to give her the income that she required if she couldn't practice dentistry anymore. And I'll never forget being down in San Diego with my wife, but we weren't there in that beautiful California beach town for the sun and the sand and the waves. We were sitting under harsh fluorescent lights, waiting for the specialist to come in and tell my wife if she had a future in dentistry, right? Imagine being in a doctor's office. You know how cold and sterile and awful they are. And imagine sitting there waiting for that doctor to come in and tell you if the person you love the most has a future in their chosen career. Just imagine what that would be like. Well, for us, the reason I won't forget that day is it didn't matter what the doctor told us when he came in the room. We'd run the numbers, we had done the planning, and we knew that no matter what he told us, we were going to be okay. And that's what fuels my entrepreneurial journey. That's what gets me excited, is helping dental entrepreneurs just like you take advantage of all the strategies that are out there and being protected when things don't go as planned. And once again, when we get to the end, we'll cover stress testing and how you can use this strategy no matter where you are in terms of levels of wealth. And like I mentioned, we just completed the largest study ever done of entrepreneurs. And you're going to get a lot of data today. But why data? Why do we care about what a survey says? Big deal. It's numbers and statistics. Well, numbers matter. Data matters. Anyone remember this little company here? They used to send you these DVDs by the mail. I used to love those moments. I'd come out and get my DVD and then ship it back. And so Netflix, right? We all know Netflix. And the DVDs were the core essential of their business model. And they were competing against companies like Blockbuster, had physical stores, and what happened is Netflix started paying attention to the data. They started looking at the numbers, they started looking at the statistics, and they realized that this thing called broadband, right, high speed internet access, was expanding, and all the homes out there were going to have better access. They realized there were lower costs to deliver programming over broadband instead of mailing discs. And so Netflix started to pivot, and they started to invest in broadband and really digital distribution. And I think you know the story from where it goes from there. And so that's why I share this with you. That's why today, that's why this data that you're going to get is so exciting and so powerful for you on your own. You can use this data to help accelerate your success so that you can create even more entrepreneurial impact no matter where you are. I'm just so thrilled that you're here and so excited to get to share this with you. So let's dive in. Once again, right, 2,049 entrepreneurs. We looked at their challenges, we look at aspirations and the strategies that they are employing in today's marketplace. You're going to walk away with some insights in terms of the demographics of entrepreneurs, their business performance, their personal wealth, future outlook, what kind of advisors they're using. This is just absolutely amazing. And I'm so thrilled to have helped underwrite this research that we did with Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach. And you get it here. And lastly, we want you to really benchmark where you are. We want you to understand where you are in your progress on your entrepreneurial journey so that you can align your financial resources and advisors for optimal success. This is about building an optimal financial world for you. And a little reminder of the demographics that we're going to be looking at. So we started off by breaking the entrepreneurs down by generation. And so we have Gen Z. If you were born 1977 or later, you're Gen Z. Welcome. If you're a millennial, you were born between 1981 and 1996. If you're a Gen Xer, you were born 1965 to 1980. And baby boomers, 1946 to 1964. And lastly, World War II generation, born 1945 or earlier. So those are the demographics breakdown that we're going to be looking at today during the presentation. So remember those, jot those down, because that will help you understand where you are in terms of the entrepreneurial journey and how this data applies to you. And I'll tell you, here's what's exciting to me is when we look at the data, entrepreneurship is strong. Gen X and millennials, you are absolutely at the forefront. You are driving the entrepreneurial success that's out there. 70.8% of entrepreneurials are Gen X to millennials. So congratulations for really driving that forward. But baby boomers, they're not out of the race yet. The baby boomers are actually really contributing significantly to the entrepreneurial journeys and just renaissance that's going on out there. About 25.7% are baby boomers. Gen Z, just a small percentage, about 1.7, but they're bringing a fresh perspective. They're bringing a new way of looking at things. And even the World War II generation is still active. This is amazing. 1.9% of the entrepreneurs we looked at are in the World War II generation. They would not call the greatest generation for nothing, folks. That's absolutely amazing. And the big takeaway here is no matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, every generation is bringing something very unique to the table. They're bringing fresh perspectives, unique insights, and aspirations. And so I encourage you, build a multi-generational empire and a multi-generational company. You want the insights from everyone and all ages and all demographics inside of your company, because you do get those unique perspectives that's there. Then we started looking at, well, what are the actual levels of entrepreneurial household income? How much money do entrepreneurs make, right? No one's ever really looked at this. And this is what's so exciting is now you have some numbers so you can actually know where you fall on the entrepreneurial scale. And look at this, less than $500,000 of household income, 58.8% of entrepreneurs are there. So if you are on this journey and you're feeling stuck and you're like, man, my income is only 120 or 150, when am I making the big bucks? All right, you're right at 58.8% of the entrepreneurs out there, and there's opportunity to move up. And if you're at that household income level of $500,000 or less, and you want to really push your entrepreneurial journey, how do you do that? How do you move to the next level? Well, you really want to embrace the potential, right? You want to commit, because you may not be playing all in at this level. You want to commit and you want to embrace the full potential of your entrepreneurial journey. And you really want to lay the foundation for your financial empire by figuring out what's the uniqueness that you bring to the marketplace. And you want to relentlessly pursue your goal. So don't give up if you're in this level. Keep going. Because if you hit that next level, the $500,000 to almost $1 million of income, look at this, 20%, 1 out of 5 entrepreneurs live in this area of income. How would that level of income change your life if you were making $500,000 to $1 million or more? Would that be a significant change for you? Would that help move the needle? And if you are in that level, how well are things working for you? And if you want to move up, what do you do? Well, at this level, you really want to just harness, right? We talked about embracing it at that first level. This level, you want to harness it. And you want to excel to that next level and really be thinking about long-term prosperity, industry leadership, right? How can you contribute to whatever industry you're in? 1 million to 2.9 million, 12% of entrepreneurs are there. And here you can really capitalize and start leveraging everything that you're doing by focusing on your unique strengths. Remember, less than $500,000, you're trying to figure out what your unique strengths are. When you're at the $1 million to $3 million of income, now you want to harness those unique strengths, because chances are you know what they are and you really want to start focusing on them. You want to think about what are the high growth opportunities for you in the marketplace, and how do you implement those cutting edge strategies to move forward. Then $3 million to $5 million of income, 3.4% of entrepreneurs are there. And now you've got a chance to really solidify your place in the marketplace. You can start scaling beyond your current ventures. And this is also what's very interesting, and we'll notice it throughout the data, is you can start looking at how do you form powerful, very, very powerful strategic partnerships so you can push the boundaries of what's possible. So you're not going to be able to do this entrepreneurial journey alone at this level. You got to start looking at partnerships. And 5 million or more of personal household income, 5% of entrepreneurs make it there. And congratulate yourself. You've joined a very, very elite club. And now you can focus on game-changing innovations and really figure out what does your lasting legacy look like within the entrepreneurial space. And so that's a summary of the household income levels. But to generate household income, we want to look at net worth too, because it's not just about the money you make, it's about what's your actual net worth. And in fact, I just saw a study by Dave Ramsey, one of the financial gurus out there, and he listed, the top 5 income earning professionals. And I think accountants were on there, engineers were on there, a handful of others. But interestingly enough, doctors and dentists, you didn't make the list of the highest net worth professions. And why is that? Well, Dave, in the data that he has, he says, well, what's interesting is actually income levels of doctors and dentists very, very high. So as a dentist, you have a high income level. So why don't you have a high net worth level? Why are your net worth levels lower? Well, it's because of a lack of proper planning. And dentists, you spend a lot of money too. And so because of that, you generate a lot of income, but you spend a lot. And we never really see your net worth levels push into the top 5. So that's just an interesting thing to keep in mind, is how are you spending the income that you're able to generate as a dental entrepreneur? So back to net worth levels now. So less than 1 million, 36% of entrepreneurs have a net worth of less than $1 million. $1 to $10 million, about 40% of you, which is very, very exciting, right? 40% of entrepreneurs, 4 out of 6 of you listening to this, if you're an entrepreneur, you have the ability to create a net worth between $1 and $10 million, right? That's huge. 4 out of 6 of you. The $10 to $25 million of net worth, about 11.3% of the entrepreneurs were there. And the $25 to $50 million of net worth, about 7%. And lastly, $50 million and above, about 5%. And here's where I want to draw your attention to is, right, once again, how do you kind of move through these levels? What are the key strategies? Well, less than $1 million, once again, it's just about embracing the potential of entrepreneurship and committing. The second level, once again, really about harnessing your ability and building that foundation. And then so you see these similarities. And then 10 to 25 million, if you want to push to the next level, that's where you really want to, once again, focus on your unique abilities. This is so key. This is what you hear all the business coaches talking about is, right, what's your unique ability? Well, there's a reason, because it creates massive wealth and massive impact in the marketplace for you. And $25 to $50 million of net worth, once again, solidify your position in the marketplace. And 50 million and above, congratulate yourself. You have done incredible things, and you can really create a lasting impact on the industry that you are serving. Next, we're going to take a look at the entrepreneurial business gross revenue levels, right? How much business is your business doing, right? How much revenue are you generating? Well, less than $500,000, only about 33.4% of entrepreneurs are there. And that's because at this level, a lot of people are struggling with what's your value proposition? Once again, what are you actually bringing to the marketplace? How are you serving people? And you want to get clear on this. Jump up to the next level, $500,000 to $1 million of revenue, 13.2%. And here's what's exciting to me is that $1 million to $10 million, about 35% of entrepreneurs make it there. And you, as a dental entrepreneur, that is not an uncommon number. It's real easy to push your practice from less than $500,000 up to that $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. That believe it or not, that's a relatively simple thing for most dentists to do in their practice. And that's because dentistry has a solid business model already. There's marketing companies that can help you really grow those revenues. And if you focus on delivering value, you're going to do great. And so that's why dentistry is a mature profession, and you have the ability to create significant wealth in dentistry. $10 to $50 million, 11% of the entrepreneurs we talk to are in that level. And at this point, you want to focus on scaling your operations, right? How do you push out? How do you build a strong brand? Like what is your company at this level? And that will excel you to the next level, which is $50 to $99 million of gross revenue levels. And at this point, you want to start looking at how do you enter other markets? What can you do? And how do you enhance your operational efficiency? Like what are the things you can do to gain scale? Then at that $100 to $500 million of revenue, about 2.2% of entrepreneurs get there. And this is where you really want to focus on talent acquisition, bringing in the right people. And then if you want to race to $1 billion, about 1% of the entrepreneurs we talk to are in that level. And this is where you want to leverage that market dominance so you can expand into other areas and really, once again, transform the industry that you are in. But it's not just enough to make money, right? We want to make money profitably, right? You got to have good profit margins. And this to me, once again, is so exciting about entrepreneurs is 62.2% of the entrepreneurs that we looked at and that we surveyed have profit margins above 26%. That's incredible. 22.1% of the entrepreneurs that we talked to exceed 50% profit margin. And really, this is key because your business, this entrepreneurial enterprise, this journey that you're on is going to fuel your financial life. And that's what's going to help you achieve what's most important to you. It's going to help you take better care of the people you love, support the causes you care about, really make a meaningful impact in life. And you want to ensure that the wealth management you have is really matching the same rigor that you bring to your business. And that's going to help ensure long-term financial prosperity is really matching the wealth management to your business, because the business fuels your personal life, and your personal life and your business is really where you make that impact. So they are absolutely connected. Next up, what are the actual values of a business, right? Where does your business valuation come in? We've looked at income levels. We've looked at net worth levels. We've looked at gross revenue levels. And now we're taking a peek at where entrepreneurial business values are. And it looks like I'm frozen for a moment. That's okay. I will keep going. So less than $1 million, about 60% of the entrepreneurs that we looked at have a net worth or a business valuation of less than $1 million. When we get to $1 to $5 million, about 18.6% of the entrepreneurs that we talk to fall in that range. From $5 to $10 million, we've got 8.5%. The $10 to $59 million, 9.2%, and $50 million and above, 3.5%. And so as we look at this, where are you in your business valuation? And do you even know what your business is worth? In fact, a lot of times entrepreneurs have a sense, they have an idea, but they really just don't know, what's my business actually worth? And so if you're curious, if you want to know what your business is worth, that's something we can help out with. And more importantly, once again, we want to help you push through those levels no matter where you are on the scale. We want to help you achieve even more. And how do you move up? How do you increase business valuation levels? Well, you got to increase profit margins, right? And you got to increase the gross revenues. And you'll see some of the very similar strategies and tactics based upon how to move through these levels, right? Beginning, you got to embrace it, right? You want to really commit to entrepreneurial. And what I find fascinating, once again, is at the upper levels, what's so fascinating is that's the level you really want to focus on those strategic partnerships and really doing joint ventures and how do you work with others. And so what about if you're at a lower level and you start really focusing on partnerships and putting things together? My guess is you would accelerate even quicker, because by doing that, it's going to offer you an opportunity and access to other networks, other people. And so to me, one of the ways you can accelerate your success is actually focusing on those ventures much, much earlier. And that should help accelerate your success. And one of my favorite entrepreneurs out there is Elon Musk and SpaceX and all the amazing work that they are doing. And the reason I bring this up is, launching rockets, it doesn't always go so well. And I've probably seen the YouTube videos, the SpaceX videos of the rockets blowing up. And so entrepreneurship is hard. You're going to blow up a lot of rockets in the process. But here's what's beautiful is if you keep going, you start getting those perfect rocket launches. Things start going as planned, but you got to go through a whole bunch of crashes before you get those rockets up, so to speak. And once again, the reason for sharing with you this data is that as a whole, entrepreneurs, you are very optimistic on the future. This is one of the reasons I love working with dental entrepreneurs so much. This is one of the reasons I'm an entrepreneur, is just the immense optimism that we have towards the future. I love being around optimistic people instead of pessimistic ones. And 51.2% of entrepreneurs believe their future business growth will significantly, not just a little bit, but significantly outpace previous levels. And I believe that about you too. I believe that your best days are ahead of you, not behind you. But you got to take decisive action. You got to arrange things properly. Here's what's exciting too: 30% expect future growth to just somewhat exceed past results. So almost 80% of the entrepreneurs that we talk to see a brighter future instead of a dimmer future. Only 15% think it's going to be about the same, and only 3.2% think it's going to be worse. So that's just amazing. The optimism that you have as a group, outstanding. I love it. Keep it up. You're doing an amazing job on that. But what's a long-term outlook on business success look like? How long do you want to stay in business? Do you want to keep doing this as an entrepreneur? Well, we find a lot of satisfaction among entrepreneurs. 57.2% of the entrepreneurs we talk to plan on continuing their company indefinitely. No plans to step away. 13.4 expect another 10 years or more of operations. 12.2 are undecided. And younger companies are very, very optimistic about operating more than 10 years out. And so lots of excitement in the space. Next up, we want to take a look at long-term business involvement, right? We talked about long-term business success. And now, once again, staying involved in the business. Just across the board, entrepreneurs, you really love what you're doing. And the data shows that. Next up, we're going to take a look at, personal growth, right? What does that look like, right? Are your best days ahead or behind you? Once again, 86.4% of entrepreneurs expect future personal growth to achieve your past experiences. I love that, right? Make your future bigger than your past. And that's what we see highly, highly successful entrepreneurs doing. And 86.4 expect growth to just absolutely dwarf everything they've done in the past. So that's super, super exciting. And I love sharing that with you because I do think that's just so, so important. Next up, as an entrepreneur, we need a coffee break. And the reason I bring up Starbucks is in your business, you are going to face challenges. Starbucks has certainly faced challenges from the economic downturn to COVID to added competition in the marketplace, but they've been able to successfully navigate the marketplace out there because they understand the challenges. They understand the changing demographics of the marketplace. They understand the social, political, economic risks that are in the world today, and they're able to meet those heads on. And that's why we want to help you navigate the challenges that entrepreneurs are facing. And so what are the challenges we find entrepreneurs facing? What are the top business risks? What are the national issues going on? And what are the personal concerns that are really weighing heavy on entrepreneurial minds out there? We want to highlight the need for comprehensive risk management and proactive planning. We'll see that in the data. And we want to empower you. Once again, this data is about empowering you. And we hope you spot some trends. What do you see in the data? Post it down below. I'd love to hear what you're finding interesting in this and how this might help you. Maybe it's just the fact that you finally know where you stand as an entrepreneur and you're like, okay, I feel good. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, because maybe you're one of the 60% making $500,000 or less, and you're just feeling burnt out, and you're like, is this even worth it? But all of a sudden, finding out that 60% of entrepreneurs are there, maybe that gives you some encouragement to keep going. So I'd love to hear what you're taking away from this data and how it's helping you build a better entrepreneurial journey. So what are the top risks out there? And when we start looking at the top risk, market volatility, 27.9% are really worried about the climate, the economic climate, what's going on, right? We've seen inflation skyrocket lately, right? How are you dealing with that? And so huge concern. Competition, 18.7% of entrepreneurs are worried about competition. And about 16.9% are really concerned about being able to attract and retain top tier talent and focus on those operational risks that need to be strategically addressed. Regulatory changes, right? There's always a law change, there's always a tax change. 13.2% of entrepreneurs are very concerned about. And then technology. We've seen the AI revolution that's been going on, and there's a technology disruption taking place. And so, if you're not embracing it, you should be concerned. And that's why we see 9.3% of entrepreneurs very concerned about technology changes. And what about just concerns in impacting entrepreneurial wealth? Right now we're moving from business wealth to personal wealth. Well, what are the things that are going on there? Well, 80% of the entrepreneurs we talk to are very concerned about tax increases. The IRS is your not so silent partner in business, and they want to take what is rightfully theirs. And so, if you can mitigate that, put more money in your pocket, that's why we see entrepreneurs very concerned about this. The political environment, the changing nature of business and entrepreneurship, it seems like it gets harder and harder all the time to own, operate, and run a business. Cyber attacks, this one was surprising to me, is right. What a huge concern, because our data probably is out there. I'm guessing my social security is hiding on the web somewhere, and yours probably is too. And so cyber attacks, very, very concerning. And then lastly, low interest rates on savings. And there's a lot more here, but that's the last one I would bring out. If you want the full survey, happy to get that for you and share that with you. Just put a comment, send me a DM, and I will get you that data. So that's the top personal needs of entrepreneurs. Next up, we're going to take a look at health concerns. And right, your health is your wealth. These things are intricately connected. If you don't feel good, if you're not performing good, your company's probably isn't going to perform good. So health, performance, absolutely linked. And you have people who are depending on you, so you got to take care of yourself. And 62% of entrepreneurs cite their own health as a big concern, followed by 59% are concerned about their health, their spouse. I'm not sure why that's not 100% for both of these, but it's kind of interesting to see. 49% are concerned about, do we have sufficient health coverage? And you might be concerned about this also, right? And lastly, 40% are really concerned about elder care, long-term care. What happens as you age, and how do you take care of each other? We also see longevity planning pop up. And here's what else, right? Coming back to the optimism piece. This is so exciting. 30% of entrepreneurs anticipate living to 100 years or more. That's amazing. So once again, you as entrepreneurs, very, very driven group, very optimistic. The majority of entrepreneurs expect a lifespan of 80 to 99 years of life. And we see optimism actually rises with a net worth level. And so at this point, what you want to consider is, how do you tailor your investment strategies for sustained growth and income over even longer time horizons? You got to make sure your planning takes in account the longevity that you expect also. And you want to protect yourself from inflation and the rising costs that are out there. And you want to make sure you've got a proper spin down plan so that you can continue to generate income for the entirety of your life. And this is why integrating the wealth preservation and legacy transfer is so important, because it reflects that longevity mindset and the data that we're seeing come out. And how do entrepreneurs navigate these challenges? What's going on? How are they dealing with them? Well, over half of the entrepreneurs with a net worth of 5 million or more cite investment decisions as their primary concern, right? They're really challenged by, what are the investment opportunities that you should be taking advantage of? 40% next cite tax planning and really being able to mitigate the taxes that you are paying. 1 in 3 entrepreneurs really grapple with estate planning and risk management issues. And risk management takes a look at, how do you protect your assets from being unjustly taken and from lawsuit, divorce, or some other unjust means that are out there. And the truth is, success as an entrepreneur, it's going to bring you a lot of rewards, but it's also going to layer on new complexities, and you have to be prepared to deal with these. And how do you start aligning strategies? And what's going on there? Well, 56.9% of entrepreneurs prefer the same advisor for both business and personal needs. And this makes sense, because you want that integration taking place. You want to know what's going on in your business and how does that fuel your personal life. What happens in your personal ties back into your business. So they're connected. And that's why we see 56.9% of entrepreneurs using the same advisor. 30% use a different advisor for personal and business. And lastly, about 12% are doing some kind of a hybrid approach with some overlap. And so that to me was fascinating, right? 56.9% are using the same advisor. Now, here's something else interesting is there seems to be a lot of dissatisfaction among entrepreneurs and the advisors that you are currently working with. In fact, we find 20.9% of entrepreneurs with a net worth of 5 million or more are very likely, very not somewhat likely, very likely to look and switch to a new advisor in the next 24 months. And another 15% say they're somewhat likely to make that change. So almost 35% of entrepreneurs are looking for a new advisor. And the reason is they want better performance, they want better communication and more comprehensive services. You're looking for someone who can deliver everything that you want. And just as you move through layers of net worth and layers of income and levels of business success, you might move through levels of advisor. An advisor you had 5 years ago may not be the right advisor today because you've probably grown and they might not have. And you really want to proactively assess whether the planning that you've done is there to support and maximize your growth, minimize risk. And you want to make sure that you're with the right advisor who has the expertise to help you push forward and achieve your most important financial goals. And what are the services? What are the things that entrepreneurs are looking for? Well, this is fascinating. Investment management, 67.9% say, hey, we want investment management. 69% of entrepreneurs are getting this, and there's a strong alignment there. Financial planning valued by 65%, and 60% of you say we're getting it. Now, here's what's interesting when it comes to tax planning. 55% of entrepreneurs say, hey, we really value tax planning advice, but only 49% of entrepreneurs are actually getting tax planning, tax mitigation services. And that suggests an opportunity for you to improve, maybe find that advisor who's also offering the tax planning services. Estate planning, including wealth transfer, business succession planning, about 50% of entrepreneurs expect that, but only 43% are getting it. And then business succession planning, huge gap. 20% of entrepreneurs want business succession planning, but only 20% of entrepreneurs are actually receiving it. And then here's another very interesting thing is mastering time management, right? We hear about focusing on your unique abilities. We hear about time management. You got to control your time to reach your goals. This is so key. You got to focus on what's most important to drive things forward. And 94.8% of entrepreneurs consider controlling their time to be very, very important for achieving their goals. Only 0.9% believe that time management is slightly or not important, because effective time management, this allows you to focus on the highest impact activities that are right in front of you, the things that are going to move the needle most for you. And the way the super rich do it, the way highly successful entrepreneurs do this, is they partner with experts who can optimize their time so that you can reach your goals more efficiently. And what's the strategy? I told you we were going to share with you at the end here. How are the most successful entrepreneurs doing this, and more importantly, how you can do it too. And the way that the most successful entrepreneurs really drive their goals forward is through a stress test. This is how they are achieving their optimal financial world. What's a stress test? I talked about this a little in the beginning with my wife and her hands, and when she was having an issue and couldn't hold forceps anymore to do extractions, we did a stress test in our plans. And what a stress test does is a stress test can help you identify gaps in your planning. It can help you identify potential mistakes and, more importantly, missed opportunities. And one of the structures that high-performing entrepreneurs use to do stress testing is something called a high-performing virtual family office. And a family office, this is the structure the super rich use to manage their financial affairs. It's a team of the best experts who are there to manage the family's wealth. And the job of this team is to help that family achieve what's most important to them. And a family office is great. You'll have tax planning experts and attorneys and private aviation specialists and concierge doctors. Whatever your family may require will be on this family office. So great upside. What's the downside? Well, the downside is they're very, very expensive to run. And that's where these virtual family offices come in. It is by bringing in a team of vetted professionals. And this is what I've done is I've gone out into the industry and I've vetted top tier talent in my industry in wealth management. And we've put together a virtual family office. So we've got experts in insurance, estate planning, mitigation strategies, business succession planning. We've got relationships with concierge doctors, whatever your family may need. And what's great is we can bring these people in on an as needed basis. And this is how entrepreneurs really manage their time so that they can continue to focus on their business. And do we see this in the data? Are the super rich actually stress testing their plans, or is this just something we made up? No, this is something we see, and the super rich understand how important stress testing is. When we looked at single family offices, and this was more research that we did, we found 93.5% of single family offices, which are the structures the super rich do, they've done a stress test in the past 5 years. When was the last time you did a stress test? Have you ever done a stress test? Why are the super rich doing this so often? Well, the rationale and the reason for running a stress test is really twofold. Number one, you want to avoid destructive situations. You want to catch those errors before they happen. And number two, you want to make sure you are benefiting from all the potential opportunities that are out there. And if you've got questions about this process, type them down below in the chat. Let me know what you think about this so far. I'd love to have an interactive conversation with you. Please let me know. But this is really the rationale for stress testing. And what are some of the needs for it? Well, maybe your wealth planning has been done incrementally. Maybe you acquired a practice and then you got another practice, and then you acquired a property, and then you got married, and then you had a divorce. And you've never really paid attention to how your wealth plans have changed over time. And right, family changes, relationship changes, birth of a child, right, death of a parent, whatever it may be. And you could have a very stale wealth plan sitting on your shelf. The other thing is your wealth planning was done incrementally. Maybe you met with that tax planner to do some tax planning, and then you met with the wealth manager to do some wealth management, and then you met with an attorney to do some estate planning. But it was done incrementally. It's been piecemeal together. And there's really opportunities for you to improve the cost structure of what's going on. There's a lack of synergy in the planning, and it was a piecemeal process instead of comprehensive. And then lastly, maybe your wealth planning just isn't as good as what it could have been. Maybe you worked with a pretender like my wife did when she purchased her disability policy, that well-meaning advisor who just didn't have the technical expertise to serve her well. Perhaps there's better solutions out there. There's superior solutions, things that could serve you better and reduce taxes in a more efficient way, or help you transfer the business in a more efficient way. Or maybe you work with someone who is too focused on being a technical expert and wowing you with all the great stuff they could do instead of focusing on the most important thing. And that's what I call the human element, really focusing on you and your goals. What are your values? Who are the most important relationships in your life? What are the advisors that you're working with? What do you like to do when you're not work, right? That human element, what makes you you? Because the planning should always be focused around you. So how do you do a stress test? What's the process? And happy to share that with you. And if this is the only thing you take away from today, take this away, right? Stress testing is so important, but it starts with clarity on your goals. It starts with profiling, right? It starts with you getting clear, working with an advisor to help you get clear on what's most important to you and what are you attempting to achieve with your planning. Then you want to actually evaluate what are the services, what are the products, what are you having in place currently. You'll work the assumptions, you'll evaluate alignment, and you'll calculate cost structure. And once again, this is trust, but verify. Like our President Ronald Reagan used to say, you really want to make sure you're going to get the results that you are expecting. And once you've done this, once you've worked the assumptions and seen how things are going to play out, once you've evaluated alignment and done the cost structure, at that point, you can figure out, do we need alternative products? Do we need alternative solutions, or is what you have already appropriate? And then you can come up with a recommended course of action. And what are some of the recommended courses of action? Maybe it's as simple as stay the course. I've never gotten mad or upset at my physician when he calls me and says, Tim, we got your blood work back, did your annual physical, everything looks great, see you next year. Like, that's a really good result. And I sleep very well knowing everything's okay. Or Maybe it's tweaking an approach with an existing service provider. Maybe it's just, updating a beneficiary, or it's, changing a property on one of your umbrella policies, right? It could be very simple, or we may find a systematic failure that we have to correct. And so much better to find that systematic failure before it happens, right? You want to find these things before they end up costing you a lot of money. And that's why stress testing is so important. If you want to know more about this and how to do a stress test, we've got another book for you. This is Optimizing Your Financial World. I'll put this in the chat for you. Please grab a copy. In this, we go through the strategies of the super rich. We talk about how you can optimize your financial world, how you can do it quicker and with less effort than you ever thought possible. And we'll go through the wealth management hierarchy, which I cover in another presentation. So I'm not going to do that today for you because we're coming up on the end here. We also come through the 9 core drivers of a high-performing family office so you can figure out where you are. I believe self-assessment is so important in you getting clear on where you currently are so you can make improvements. And so, like I said, we'll run through the wealth management hierarchy in the book so you can identify what kind of advisor you currently are working with, and more importantly, what kind of advisor you require in your life. We'll give you those drivers of the high-performing virtual family office. And so if you want to master your financial destiny as an entrepreneur, how do you do this, right? You've worked hard to build business wealth. You've worked hard to create personal wealth. And now is the time. There's been an explosion in wealth. Now is the time for you to optimize your financial world and bring the business and the finances together. And you deserve working with an advisor who's going to help you accelerate your success, who's going to defend you and help you do even more. In a high-performing virtual family office, that just might be the key to unlocking your full financial potential. This may be what's missing, and this may be why you haven't been able to move forward, is because you're trying to do too many things yourself. And so if you're interested in this, happy to schedule a meeting, run through what this looks like for you. Have no idea if I'm the right advisor, but I'll certainly get you to the right advisor. I love working with dental entrepreneurs, and that's my purpose of doing this today. It's just to serve you. It's to help you get clear on where you are so that you can continue making a difference in the world. And so maybe a virtual family office is what you're looking for. And so I was so thrilled to spend a little time with you here today on mastering your financial destiny as a dental entrepreneur. Remember, a virtual family office is not right for everyone, but it could be the key for you. So don't hesitate to reach out. In fact, I would encourage you to do that. There's no better time to get clarity than right now, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second time, right now, today. If you want to contact me, it's 818-534-4949. Once again, 818-534-4949. I see we've got a couple of listeners. If you got a question, I'll stick around for a couple moments. And for everyone else, I want to be respectful of your time. So I'll give you a couple moments here. If you got any questions, please type those in. And if not, we'll see you again here soon on the Dental Wealth Nation show. So thrilled you tuned into this special edition of Mastering Your Financial Destiny as an Entrepreneur. We were sharing groundbreaking research and a study of high-performing entrepreneurs. No study like this has ever been done, and so excited to share it with you as a Dental Wealth Nation exclusive. Till next time, get out there, make it a great day, keep making an impact in the world. You as entrepreneurs, you change the world for the better. It's such an honor to serve you, share this with you. If you got any questions, please reach out. We'll see you again here soon on the Dental Wealth Nation show.
You've been listening to Dental Wealth Nation. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. Join us next time as we pull back the curtain to reveal the often hidden advice and strategies used by today's most successful individuals and families, and help maximize your net worth so you can take even better care of the people you love. Till next time, make sure to hit the website at dentalwealthnation.com.